Hi, my name is Brandon Gray. I am the Product Support Engineer for SystemLink, and today we're going to be taking a look at SystemLink's states. So states are something that we've added into Systems Manager. States allow you to take the configuration of a system, save it into SystemLink, and then you can use that state to compare either systems to systems, you can compare systems to a state you've created, and if desired, you can actually deploy that state to a system. So it would allow you to take, for instance, a known, well-configured system, make a state from it, and then push that state to another target that you're wanting to match. And so that's actually what we're going to be demoing here today. And so for this demo, I've set up two CRIOs. Both of them are 9036s. And so demo CRIO 9036-1, which we see right here, is the system that I have set up that is in a known, well-configured state. And so to create a state, what you do is you go into the Systems Details view. From here, you could then go into the Software tab to make sure or add feeds and packages that aren't already on the target. But since we know that the system is already in a well-known working state, we'll go ahead and proceed with the state creation. And so from this view, you'll click the Create State button, which is at the top along the top rail. And in this view, it takes the feeds and packages that were installed and configured on your system and loads them into the state. And it prompts you to name your state, give it a description, and it's always good to check the architecture. So here, well, actually what we're going to do is take the default name, put that into the description so we know where the state came from, and then we'll change the name to Golden CRIO 9036 state. And so here we have our state named, we've given it a description. Since this is a CRIO 9036, it is a NI-Linux real-time architecture state. If this was a Windows machine, that's what we would see in that drop-down. We know that the feeds and packages that we configured are the ones we want, so we'll go ahead and hit Create. Once the state's created, we'll see all of the feeds, packages, name and description that we just set. Additionally, you'll see that there's some metadata saved for the state about when it was created and when it was modified, which is good if you're wanting to see when the last time you updated a state was and whether or not you need to update it again. But like I mentioned before, what we'll now do is we'll take this CRIO state and compare it to our other CRIO to see if we see any differences and decide whether or not we need to push that state to the system. Once we have the state created, we have the ability to compare systems to states, and so we'll use the compare button at the top. So the one we're interested in seeing is the demo CRIO 9036-2. So we'll go ahead and check that one and hit compare. So the demo CRIO is on the left, and what we want to do is we want to compare it to the state we just created. So for type, we'll click state, and then for the ID, we're going to go look for the state we just created, which was Golden CRIO 9036 state. And from here, it shows you a comparison of the two states. And so on the right, we see there are a bunch of entries for Visa. And so what I know is that this Golden CRIO, the CRIO that we used to create the state, had the Visa driver installed on it, and the demo CRIO 9036 did not have that Visa driver, and so that's the one difference that we see. If there were any packages installed in the demo CRIO 9036 target, what we would see is along the left side, we would see some items highlighted in red instead of in green like what they are shown on the right. So here we have figured out that our second demo CRIO doesn't have the Visa driver on it, and we actually are going to want to push that to that target. And so next we'll take a look at how we go about doing that. Once we're back at the Manage Systems view, we'll go into the CRIO that we're wanting to update with the new state, and then go into the Software tab. Once you have states created for the architecture of the target you're looking at, what you'll see in the Software tab is that States tab along the left. And so here we see states, Golden CRIO 9036 state, and what you see is we have the ability to install. So we'll go ahead and click Install since we know it's going to be installing Visa. Click Next. It gives you a display of all of the feeds and packages that are included in the state, so just as a summary, but we're going to go ahead and click Apply. And then it prompts you to make sure that you're okay with your target restarting if necessary. Once the state has been applied, we can then go back for confirmation and compare the state to that system again. So again, to compare, you'll click the system that we want to compare. So we want to compare this one that we just applied a state to and hit compare. And then we'll want to select the state that we created and just applied to the system. So here, you'll see along the top right, it says number of differences and it says 0 next to it, so we know that the states are the same. From this compare view, you can also compare systems to systems. So for instance, we can go and compare this system that we just applied the state to the system that we created the state from, and what we should see is that they also have no differences. So here, we see that they have no differences. Once you've created states, you'll see your states in this system states view. And so when we open the system states view, we're going to see all of the different system states we've created. And so here you'll get an overview of all the states you have, their architectures, when they were created and then last updated. And so for instance, this golden Cerio state was the one that we created earlier. It's here. You can also duplicate states if you're wanting to duplicate it and maybe make a couple of changes. You also have the ability to import states as well as create states from scratch. Lastly, we'll take a look at what we call raw states. So to see this, we'll go ahead and open up the state we just looked at. And along the top, we'll see a checkbox that says show raw state. And so if we select this, what it will show us is the raw state that SystemLink has created. And so raw states are well documented on SALT. I'll include a link in the video description to that documentation. I hope this was helpful. Thank you and have a nice day.